The year was 2007. I was in my last semester at Nicholls State University, and the DRE at St. Anthony, my home parish, had retired. And so the new DRE was the youth minister as well. And being a product of the youth ministry, she asked me to teach CCD. She threw me in the fire. She had me teach 8th grade CCD. And I don't know if you know about 8th grade CCD. It's not these kids' faults. They're going through something, It's called puberty, So some of them have gone through puberty. Some of them haven't gone through puberty. Some of them are in the process of going through puberty. You could wring out the hormones after each class with a wet cloth. And I, being the wide-eyed, new CCD teacher, thought I was going to be the cool CCD teacher. I was going to be the hip CCD teacher. I was going to have dialogue with these kids. I was going to not have too many rules in the class. I was going to really try to befriend these kids and make a difference in their life. And they ran over me the first, second, and third class. It was bad. Why? Because I didn't look at the wisdom of the teachers that I had, which is to be mean the first class. Why do teachers be mean the first class? To instill discipline. And then you see over the time they'll get nicer and nicer and nicer. I didn't instill discipline, and it was a fight to get that discipline back. But I remember there was one particular class, I don't remember what we were talking about, maybe it was the Holy Spirit. But for some small reason, I don't know what it was, I broke through to them. And you could really understood that what I was saying and what I was trying to present to them, it sunk in. And I don't know if you've ever been in a moment where you felt God was really present. You get a little warm, and you can just feel God's presence in the room. And I felt that at that time. They really understood what it was about. They really understood, and I think they had some kind of encounter with God in that moment. That's our gospel today. Remember, Jesus is fighting with all these Pharisees and Sadducees and scribes and scholars of the law. He's fighting with all these different people. And yet there's this one scribe that comes up to him and he asks him a simple question. What is the greatest commandment? And Jesus gives him the answer. And he answers with understanding, meaning he finally got it. It's that little ray of hope that these group of people that he had been trying to dialogue with, that he'd been trying to talk to, that they had finally broken through a little bit. And I think that's something that we can hold in our own hearts. Our prayer life, our faith life is something that I think has lots of ups and downs. And we feel like we're on the mountaintop with Jesus sometimes, and sometimes we feel like Jesus is a million miles away and we don't know where he's at. But I think when we are in that desert place, when we're in that low, we have to hold to those rays of light. We have to hold to those times that God has broken through our hardness of heart. For some reason, and sometimes we can't explain it, we know God's presence is there. And if we hold on to those things, then we reject the lies of God's not there. We reject the lies of God doesn't care about us. We reject those lies that sometimes come whenever we're in our low points. God truly wants to be in relationship with us, and he truly wants to dialogue with us. Sometimes the blocking, stumbling part is from our own sake. Sometimes we say God is a million miles away, but in truth we have to understand that sometimes we've put ourselves a million miles away. And we're the ones that have to come back to God, not God has to come back to us. So as we come to the table, Lord, let us try to be like that scribe. Let us try to answer with understanding, pondering what God has said in our hearts, holding to that truth that if we love our neighbor as ourselves, and we love our God with everything we have, we will be with him in the kingdom of heaven.